Because the government gaining power doesn't necessarily make it fascist. You could say there might be governmental overreach.
I'm still not even sure. What is fascist here, Destiny? What is fascist?
So
Giovanni Gentili, we have definitions of what fascism is. We have third partyists who are out there right now who are fascist. They claim Trump is a populist. Can you tell me why they're wrong and why you're right that he's a fascist?
Well, I would have to know their exact reasons for why they reject Trump being a fascist, but I would say that Trump is a fascist because I think he's an ultra-nationalist and an authoritarian.
What's good, everyone? Welcome back. So today we're watching a debate where Destiny goes up against a room full of 25 Trump supporters, and honestly, it gets pretty wild pretty fast. We're talking election fraud claims, fake electors, accusations of fascism, the whole thing. Most of these guys came in completely unprepared, and it shows. But there's one guy, Andrew Wilson, who actually puts up a real fight and tries to corner Destiny on his definitions. That's where things get really interesting. Does Destiny hold his ground? Or does Andrew manage to poke enough holes to make him look shaky? Stick around till the end because I got my own take on what Destiny got right, where he slipped up, and what I think he should have said instead.
Number one, I'm a MAGA gangster. I'm outside when it comes to Trump. Have you ever been to a rally?
Yeah,
that's number one. I don't know if you book smart or if you're really outside, because I'm outside. Yep. I'm outside. And you basically said MAGAs thrive off of lies. First of all, you ever seen a Trump rally? You don't see all of the unity and love out there?
Nope. I see things saying like deport all the immigrants, and I see more MAGA flags, and I see American flags.
All right, let me ask you this. You support Black Lives Matter?
Not that much.
But Black Lives Matter only when media put it out. That's number one. Trump is bringing a lot of unity and love. You support burning and looting. That's what you support. And it tripped me out how you could support someone that just want the world to just go crazy, burning and looting. And I heard you say something earlier that's crazy. You said you hate America. Talk about that.
I don't think I ever said I hate America.
Yes, you did. And it made me look at you even more.
When did I say I hate? In what context?
You said it earlier.
I don't think so. I think I said that I like America. I like America. I don't think MAGA people like America. I don't think you guys have any idea what it means to be American. I don't think you know what American values are. I don't think you know what this country was founded or built upon. And I think you guys are obsessed with a cult leader who is taking the entire Republican Party off of a cliff.
Everything he say he do. Trump is gangster. Remember.
Can you give me one thing you don't like about Trump?
What I don't like about him, I love everything about Trump.
I know, because it's a cult. Thank you.
It's not a cult.
I'm from cult.
No, it's not
a cult.
Everything is a cult if you want to think about it.
Okay.
Everything is a cult.
To somebody in a cult, that's probably true, yeah.
He's someone that's representing, and Kumala, whatever her name is, she out of here. Trump 2024. All right.
Okay, I want to talk about the alternate slate of electors and how historically that has happened before on the Democrat side. Yes, it has. In 1960, JFK against Nixon ran an alternate slate of electors in case it was overturned in Hawaii. It was eventually overturned in Hawaii, and so then those electors were certified, and JFK won the state.
So I'm glad you bring this up real quick, because this is one of the biggest piece of shit talking points that you guys always bring up, and I don't know why. In 1960, two slates of electors were authorized by the state legislature. Both were granted the certificate of ascertainment from the governor because they knew that it was a very close election, and they'd authorized a recount, and because that recount was going to go past the some mid-December date. It's December 14th for the 2020 election, but some mid-December date for when they had to certify their vote. So they said, okay, well, we'll send in both certificates, and then on the day of the counting, on January, whenever they would have done the certification in Congress, then they can choose which one was authorized by the state legislature based on the results of the recount. Donald Trump's certificates were not authorized by any state legislature. Well, do you acknowledge that? Wait, real quick. Do you acknowge real quick that none of the 7 slates that were submitted by Donald Trump, none of those were authorized by any state legislature?
Can I answer?
You're not going to.
No, I am. No, I am.
Conversation.
No. They weren't certified. And why? It's because fraud wasn't found. It wasn't proven in court.
No, you're lying. You're lying. They weren't
authorized. So you're saying fraud was found in court?
No, you're lying because those legislatures...
Wait, what do you say I'm lying about?
They're lying because none of those alternate slates were arranged by the state legislatures. They were arranged by Trump and his criminal co-conspirators. None of the state legislatures, none of the state governors authorized those slates of electors.
Okay, what's wrong with that?
It's illegal, number one, and number two.
What law? What law says that?
You have laws that are governing how you're supposed to transmit.
What law? What law?
Do you want me to give you the specific statutes
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Georgia, Arizona, New Jersey? I don't know them off the top of my head. If you want, you
Okay,
can.
so then that's a baseless claim.
It's not a baseless claim.
Yeah,
Chesbro,
it is.
Chesbro
You-
and Eastman
you can't
and
provide me a
all
specific
engaged-
law.
Because I can't give you the state statute?
Yeah, if you can't give me a specific law, then why should I believe you? There's no justification for that. You have to provide evidence.
Destiny, can you define fascism?
I would say the two big points for fascism would be ultranationalism and authoritarianism.
Okay, what is authoritarianism?
I would say that authoritarianism is trying to centralize as much power in like a structural sense into one part of the government, and then in a broader sense, it usually means undermining a bunch of liberal values that you would find, like, say, in the First
So then how is it that every part of the government which accrues more and more power to itself every single year aren't a bunch of fascists?
Because the government gaining power doesn't necessarily make it fascist. You could say there might be governmental overreach,
I'm
but
still
it's
not even sure what is fascist here, Destiny. What is fascist?
I said-
So Giovanni Gentili, we have definitions of what fascism is. We have third partyists who are out there right now who are fascist. They claim Trump is a populist. Can you tell me why they're wrong and why you're right that he's a fascist?
Well, I would have to know their exact reasons for why they reject Trump being a fascist, but I would say that Trump is
These
a
are-
fascist
they're
because I
your-
think he's an
Hang on,
ultranationalist
these are
and an
your
authoritarian.
claims. These are your claims,
I'm not
right?
claiming anything that those people
You
said. I've
claim
given you my
that
definition for
you claim he's
fascist.
a
I gave the
fascist.
two parts. I can
Okay.
explain them more if you
So
want.
let's
and I
start
would
with
say that's why.
ultra-authoritarian.
Why I said ultranationalist and authoritarian.
What is ultranationalism?
So I think ultranationalism is when you engage in a hardcore protectionist ideology that usually involves shutting yourself out from the rest of the world. That could be in forms of international affairs like military conflicts, and it could be in the forms of ultra-protectionist in terms of trade and shutting down things like immigration in order to protect your own native peoples. Oftentimes there's a heavily racialized element, but there might not have to be.
Okay, well, Donald Trump, you're not saying has a heavy racialized element, are you?
I'm ambivalent. I don't really care on that much. I think that he
Okay.
qualifies or satisfies the term without that. But
Okay, so let's dive into this real quick. If you have a president who doesn't want to get involved in foreign affairs as far as wars go and has some type of policies which benefit the United States over all of the nations, is he a fascist?
no.
Well, I'm still confused as to what makes Trump a fascist.
That's because I had two parts of that, and you missed the authoritarian one.
Yeah,
What you
okay.
described there before was just like protection.
Well, when you said authoritarian, what is he doing, which is accumulating all power to himself?
So he's trying to centralize power in the executive branch of the government, and specifically in the presidential part of the government, of the executive branch.
How?
How Donald Trump thinks that he should be able to unilaterally make decisions up and down all of the different departments and offices that exist in the executive branch.
Presidents use executive orders all the time.
That's not what an executive order is.
Presidents unilaterally make decisions all the time.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do.
No,
they
they
do.
don't.
They use executive orders all the time.
An executive order doesn't mean that you are taking power away from the departments and offices that have been created.
Right. So where's the fascism here?
Would you like me to give you specific
Yes,
examples?
give me the specific example.
Sure. So when Donald Trump didn't like the answer that he was getting from his attorney general because he was trying to direct the Department of Justice to do investigations or to fabricate claims, that would be an example of trying to centralize power just to the president because he's undermining his own department that's been created for him that's supposed to have some level of independence, that's tasked with doing investigations.
Let me ask you a question. Is the president of the United States the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the United States?
I believe so.
You believe so?
Unless something's changed.
Do they have
recently, yeah.
do they have control of the entire military apparatus essentially as the
As
commander-in-chief?
the commander-in-chief, yes.
Yeah. Is that fascist?
No.
So they have basically almost unilateral control by your own metrics of the most mighty military on planet Earth. That's not accumulating enough power, centralized control to one person. It's the fact that he tried to slay some fucking electors. Really?
So the president being the commander-in-chief is specifically laid out in the Constitution. That's an
Yeah.
authority granted to him. I don't know what's fascist about
Well,
that
because
from
you
the
said it's
inception of the
ultra
country.
power. It's this idea of
I
having,
didn't say
of
anything
having
about
central
the
power.
military.
If you have the
about-
central
I
power,
didn't ever bring that up for him, but
if you have the central power
Yeah.
of the most mighty military on planet Earth and the codes to the largest nuclear armament on planet Earth, you already have all of the central power, bro.
really,
Yeah.
how do the nuclear codes help you
Yeah.
direct your Department of Justice?
Okay, I'm sorry. Is he the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces? which
Are
he
you
has
just
control
arguing that he's the commander? I already agree with you. I don't know why you keep arguing.
What I'm
this.
arguing to you is
I'm
that
asking you,
it
how does the
sounds to
commander-in-chief
me-
use the
you don't get
military
to ask
to
me.
make?
It's your
Well, I
claim.
can
I'm
ask whatever
asking
you
you
want,
about
yeah.
your claim,
So
and your claim is
how does that make
he's
him
a
control the
fascist.
DOJ? How does the military help him control the
So
DOJ?
back up. That is the most powerful position I can think of for you to be in. Period. How could
That's
you
a powerful
accumulate-
position.
What
That's a
more-
powerful-
What more accumulation of power would you want for a fascist dictator?
Gotcha. Okay, so that's powerful in that you controlled the military. That's it. That's just control of the military.
Yeah.
For the FBI coming to your house to arrest you, for the DOJ filing charges
said the
against
military
you,
to
for
do
the
it.
EPA, no, the president doesn't do that.
He
I don't know if
could.
no, I
He's
don't believe
the
that he can. I don't believe you can. I don't think that you can
Why
deploy the
can't-
military to arbitrarily arrest
Why?
U.S.
Why?
citizens.
Let me be real with you from the jump. Andrew Wilson is the kind of guy who smiles and laughs during a debate thinking it makes him look like he's got everything under control. But that's pretty standard for this crowd, so not exactly shocking. What you need to know going in is that this is literally a 1 versus 25 situation. Destiny walks into a room packed with Trump supporters and just starts picking apart their arguments one by one in real time. And honestly, most of them had no business being in that debate because they clearly showed up with nothing but vibes and Twitter takes. Andrew was probably the only one in the room who brought anything close to a real challenge. Everyone else? It was rough. And I mean genuinely rough. Like there's a point where one guy opens his mouth and what comes out is so far gone that I don't even know where to start with it. It's not even that it's wrong. It's that it's on a completely different planet. The kind of thing where you be minding your business at 3 a.m, someone knocks on your door, and that's what they hit you with. Yeah, moving on. Now, the most interesting exchange in the whole thing was around the fake elector situation. One of these guys tries to pull out this historical argument saying Democrats did the same thing back in 1960 with JFK. So why is everyone acting like Trump did something crazy? And at first it sounds like he's got a point, right? Except he walks straight into a trap he built himself, because he clearly didn't actually know the full story behind what he was referencing. In 1960, Hawaii had 2 sets of electors because the election was so close they triggered a recount. And here's the key part. The state government officially authorized both sets. The governor literally signed off on both. It was all above board and legal because nobody knew which result was going to hold when the deadline hit. That's completely different from what happened in 2020, where Trump's electors showed up in states like Georgia, Arizona, Michigan, and others with zero authorization from anyone in those state governments. No governor, no legislature, nobody. So by trying to use Hawaii 1960 as his defense, this guy accidentally gave the best possible example of how the process is actually supposed to work. And in doing that, he made Trump's version look even worse by comparison. That's a tough way to lose an argument. Then comes the fascism debate with Andrew, and this is where it gets interesting. Andrew's whole strategy was basically to say that if a president having constitutional powers like commanding the military or signing executive orders counts as fascism, then every single president in American history was a fascist. And look, on the surface that sounds clever, but it completely misses the point. Having power is not the problem. The problem is when that power gets used to go after institutions that are supposed to operate independently, like pushing the Justice Department to chase fake election claims or do political favors. That's a different thing entirely. A judge has the power to sentence people. That doesn't mean they can just sentence whoever they personally dislike. The power exists for a specific purpose within specific limits. And the moment you start bending it for personal or political reasons, that's when it becomes a problem. Destiny's sharpest moment came when Andrew kept pushing this commander-in-chief angle, basically saying the president already controls the most powerful military on earth, so what more centralized power could you possibly want? And Destiny just came back with one question. How exactly do nuclear codes help you control the Department of Justice? That one line cut through everything because it exposed what Andrew was actually doing, which was mixing up 2 completely different kinds of power and pretending they were the same thing. Now, where I think Destiny left points on the table is he defined fascism on the fly instead of anchoring it to something solid. If he'd opened with a historian's framework like Robert Paxton's idea that fascism is really about a pattern of behavior over time, attacking institutions, centralizing loyalty to one person, using legal systems for political survival, then Andrew couldn't just wave it off as one guy's opinion. And instead of going point by point, Destiny could have just laid out the pattern and let it speak for itself. That approach would have been a lot harder to dodge. Anyway, that's my read on the whole thing. I want to know what you think. Drop it in the comments below, because honestly, this conversation is way bigger than one debate.